everyone. Have you ever talked to someone who is so annoying that they make you want to avoid them whenever you can? You know, the person that makes everything all about them and knows just what to say to get under your skin. Well, if you want to know how to deal with this and make sure that you avoid becoming that person, this video is for you. In today's episode, I cover 4 rude conversation habits with a few tips on how to communicate better at work. So if you want to know which rude conversation habit to avoid at work, stay tuned. Hello, everyone. I'm Jaboria, an online leadership coach and consultant. I want to welcome you to the best place for new and emerging leaders who want help navigating challenging conversations in the workplace. As a leader, there are a few things that you should never do at work, and there are definitely some things that you should never say when you're having a conversation with your boss. It's important for you to be engaged during conversations and have a presence that makes people feel good and at ease when they talk to you. Let me say that the tips I share in this video will allow you to have great networking success as you level up in your leadership. This will ensure that your team members won't be put off by you. Now, as a society, we've become more relaxed and less formal. Some people may have forgotten a few common workplace etiquette and professional courtesies that are necessary for communicating effectively at work. Let me start by saying I've also been guilty of doing at least one of these things that I'm going to mention. The good thing is that now that I'm aware of it, I avoid doing it. That's why I'm sharing these tips with you so that you can learn from my mistakes and so that you'll know what I did differently to correct those mistakes. So let's get right into the tips. The first rude conversation habit is when you're distracted while someone is speaking to you. If you're constantly checking your watch or scrolling through the timeline on your cell phone when your boss or your colleague is talking to you, that's a problem. Imagine if someone did this to you when you were trying to discuss something that really mattered to you. How would you feel? You'd probably guess that the person wasn't listening to you, and you'd feel like what you're saying wasn't important. Although these kinds of distractions may be socially acceptable in some casual settings with family and friends, that's an awful way to interact at work. You should treat your job and workplace like a high stakes area because it involves your livelihood. And anything that demonstrates that you are less than engaged could place your job in jeopardy and get you in trouble. And if you're anything like me, you don't let anything interfere with your coins. Now, I understand that life happens and you may have a valid reason for looking at your phone during a conversation. So here's how you can handle it in a way that won't come across as rude and get you in trouble. If there's a reason why you may need to pause or disrupt the conversation, say so up front. Here's what you can do. Before your colleague or your supervisor starts talking, say something like, "Before we start this conversation, I want to let you know that I'm expecting a very important text message or phone call. If you see me looking at my phone while we're talking, that's why. I may need to answer it, and if so, I'll make it short. Or if you need to keep track of the time because you have another time commitment, you should say that too." You could say something like, "I only have 20 minutes or 30 minutes until my next meeting, so I may be looking at the clock so I don't miss that." People are very accommodating when you explain what's going on. This is a pro tip for keeping things professional so that the other person doesn't think that you're not interested in what they're saying. The second rude conversation habit is not acknowledging that someone is speaking to you. It is not only polite, but it's professional courtesy to respond when someone engages you in a conversation at work. It doesn't have to be a long exchange, and it doesn't mean that you need to agree with the other person. You only need to reply in acknowledgement as a form of a workplace etiquette per se. Let me pause to mention an exception to this point. If you're busy and your work is interrupted unexpectedly in a way that's discourteous, you can handle this a bit differently. Let's say, for example, that someone stops by your office or calls you on the telephone and starts talking without asking if this is a good time for you. Here's what you can do so that it doesn't turn into a negative interaction. You can politely but firmly stop them before they get too far into the conversation. Inform the person that you need a few minutes to finish what you're doing. Let them know that you want to give them your undivided attention, but at this moment, they don't have it. Ask them to allow you to finish what you're doing or your train of thought so that they'll have your full, undivided attention. I've found that being open, honest, and firm in a way that's also professional helps to manage people's expectations while ensuring them that you're still willing to help them. Hit the like button if you've ever been interrupted at work like this. The third rude conversation habit is monopolizing the conversation. People who do all of the talking during a conversation tend to be a huge bore. And if this is something that you've been guilty of, this may be a habit that you should consider changing. A conversation is an exchange of information with a little give and take. Don't be that person who monologues and makes everything about you. You'll want to avoid doing things like talking over others or doing anything that makes you appear selfish. If you don't, the listener will zone out during the conversation and they will avoid you later on. The key is to interact in a way that doesn't make others feel dismissed because you're disinterested in what they have to say. The fourth rude conversation habit is when you have disinterested body language. If you're looking away, fidgeting, or if you have your hands folded across your chest when someone is talking to you, that may be a huge turnoff. You want to use gestures that are open and suggest that you are paying attention to the conversation. I want to suggest a bit of caution with this one though. When it comes to body language and facial expression, this may vary based on cultural differences. Body language that may mean one thing to you may mean something else to another person who grew up in another country or in a different region. When in doubt, use positive, affirming words to express that you're engaged in the conversation. Leave a heart in the comment section if you understand the importance of recognizing that cultural differences play a role in how we communicate. I understand that not everyone that you talk to has something interesting to say. That's a given. And you're not going to be wholly committed to every conversation that you have. The key is to converse in ways that are respectful and professional. That's it. Now, as a thank you for watching this video, I have a free download for you in the description box. It's my drive-by conversation resource guide to help you know what to say when you're at work and you're caught off guard. There's also a separate short survey that will help you know what kind of content you want to see from me. It takes less than 2 minutes to complete and it will really help me out. Please don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so that you'll know when I post new videos each week. As always, have a great week, be kind to yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Bye.